Welcome back, friends. We get the white pieces this time. And I have drawn this individual once in the past. Okay. French defense. Now, I've been playing the Jagoran French a lot. I haven't really been satisfied with a lot of the positions I'm getting out of it, though. So I'm going to go with my old school approach of the Tarash, I think. I like the Tarash. It's flexible. It allows for a C3 push. Sometimes I can let the initiative get away from me, though. You know what? I'm just going to go for a win hour. I allow a win hour here and see how that treats me. But my opponent goes for the exchange, so we're in an exchange French. Okay. I feel pretty comfortable here. I just have some good central control and good piece placement. Now, the knight is attacked, so I'm just going to defend the knight. Pawn is not really hanging because if queen takes, bishop check wins the queen. That's a common trick to remember that sometimes people fall into, but my opponent will not. So now the check is no longer an option, but the queen's not attacking the pawn either. So we're just going to develop a knight. We're going to get the knight towards the center, defend my center, maybe look at jumping into e5. And deciding where I want my dark square bishop. So knight takes knight, and he wants to trade off pieces. I mean, I suppose ideally, black is okay trading pieces, but no wonder I drew him last time. This is already shaping up to be kind of drawish if he just wants to trade pieces. I guess he was determined to just improve his problem piece from the beginning. But now what about the knight? Where does the knight go? Knight developed here. And I guess over to f6. I'm just going to bring the bishop back because I'm not gung-ho to trade pieces. I want to leave some pieces on the board for attack. And taking would just develop his piece for him. So and now is he threatening to just take and take? This opponent just wants to trade pieces, I think. Does that trap the queen? Bishop takes. If bishop g5 attacking the queen has nowhere to go. So bishop takes knight, bishop takes queen, bishop takes, and he's up a knight. And now it doesn't work out for me because he takes the knight, he's up a piece. I take the queen, he takes the queen. He's still up a piece. And I have a piece hanging, so I can't capture back. So on the surface, that looks like it's winning, but it is not. Am I going to allow him to break up my pawn structure? How about I just develop? I develop the bishop. Maybe look at getting castled queenside. Well, if he wants to break up my pawn structure, take my knight, I'll break up the pawn structure and leave the queens on the board. I'm going to do that. Um, okay. Now he keeps a piece out of g5. Good castle immediately. Castle kingside, but then bishop takes, and I'm forced to destroy my kingside structure. Even if queen takes, pawn takes, and I've got doubled pawns and an exposed king on the g file. He develops his knight, castles queenside, and launches a kingside attack. So I'd love to go knight to e5, but that abandons my g pawn. And I don't see a lot of compensation for that. So ideas like queen g6, um, just blocking any tempo gaining moves here and maybe thinking about castling queenside. Although that abandons a pawn as well. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Now all of a sudden I can't castle queenside and he's attacking my rook. So my queen does need to stay here. I think that's the move. I've got to stay on the knight. Look at castling queenside. If he checks, I can just block with the pawn. Um, and there's the knight move. He's looking at castling queenside. And so am I. In the sense I'm wasting a lot of time on it. I don't think there's a better option right here. Now maybe just going rook g1 and pushing g4 after I move the knight away. Rook g1. Okay, he gets the bishop out and developed. And that's going to hit my my H pawn. Um, I feel like black has the initiative, and I'm responding to black. Maybe I didn't approach this in the best way, but everything still looks pretty equal. It's a game of chess. Um, what about pushing h3 or h4? Is there anything wrong with h4? Maybe. Takes a square away from the knight, potentially. Um, from h3, g4 supported. If I do ever think about pushing the g-pawn. h3 it is. And that seems pretty innocuous. It does seem like a wasted move almost, but to untangle my pieces here, not lose material, he pushes a3. Okay, maybe the same idea with maybe future thoughts of bishop snagging up that pawn. Um, so now what? Rook here, maybe rook to the middle. Bring rook to the middle of the board and not worry about this side pawn over here. Because that might be threatening to try and open up the center at the right moment. Maybe after bishop to c4. And what if we come to the center and we don't worry about pushing pawns just yet? And he could go b5 and kind of stop this idea, and he is going b5. That kind of seals the deal of him not castling queenside, though. Maybe he's going to leave his king in the center. Maybe I reroute the bishop. If I reroute the bishop, I mean, he could take, and that leaves this pawn hanging, but with the king left in the middle, I don't know that he wants to do that. I think I'm pretty well coordinated there. Maybe I should just slide my king over, avoid any checks on this file if I'm going to reroute it. Well, that also, with the bishop here, he's going to just press b4. I think that's my best idea, though. He could take. But if he does, I take back with the queen, and he doesn't have time to take the pawn because I'm looking at the rook. So yeah, we don't have to box shadows. Pawn isn't touchable yet. And that might free up the knight jumping into the middle. Okay. Develops the bishop, wanting to trade pieces. What about knight here now? 95. He can take with check, and I take back, and the knight's still in the middle of the board. Um, he takes the pawn. Then what? I'm hanging this pawn, and he's threatening to skewer my queen and rook. What if I just interpose the bishop here? Threaten to trade bishops myself. I think that's the idea, yeah. Because then I'm looking at the, if he takes, he's got to take with check first. Because he's going to lose the bishop otherwise. Or the rook. No, he could take with check after. He can't take with check after. Because it's with check, and I have to respond. So there is that. He did acquit himself well with this light square bishop in the French. Okay. So he gets castled queenside, kingside, and I'm castled queenside. So I feel like I want to start pushing kingside pawns. Yeah, why not? Let's push some kingside pawns and open up some space over here to get attack against the kingside now. First, I'll need to support it first. Maybe maybe h4 and then g5, or maybe rook g1. Okay, it's a wonderful outpost for the knight, attacking my rook. Maybe that's a chance to get in on e5 now. He comes here anyway. And if I take, he takes, and he's got an open b file against my king. But he doesn't have pieces on it yet. It does get my knight out of the way to push the f pawn and get the rooks behind my pawn storm. Alternatively, I could push b3, but then a5, and he's rolling pawns to break up my kingside structure. I'd also have to be very worrisome about the potential of the queen getting in. Um, I think knight e5. There's maybe also the idea of just sliding the rook over, and then I've got a forking idea if he moves the knight. Okay, no more fork, but he's challenging the e file. Queen's protecting the pawn. Whoa, what about not pushing the f pawn? What about going rook d3, rook f3? Yeah, let's think about, well, that hangs the f pawn. Does hang the f pawn, but swinging the rook over, I'm going to attack the queen, and maybe he picks up this pawn. Hmm. Ooh, okay, he brings the knight in. I think maybe he might have been able to just snag this pawn. But as is, I think I can bring the rook over now. Oh, he's got a check. Of course he's got a check. Of course, of course. And I have to be very careful because moving the king forks my pieces now. So maybe now I offer a queen trade. I wish I would have blocked with the rook. I wish I would have blocked with the rook. But the queen on e4 kept pressure on the back rank. He takes. Okay. All right, we have a symmetrical structure and pair of rooks. Just a sidestep and push f4. Um, Starting to look pretty drawish, but if I'm being honest, I was feeling pressure most of that game. I think I had plenty of chances to go wrong. I might have missed some opportunities. I don't know, but all right, now my pawn chain's fortified, and now we're just going to trade a pair of rooks and okay. Tempted to push b3 just to have a little bit of running space. I think over here first, just so that if his rook gets in, I have opportunities to break open his king side. And that just invites him to keep pushing on my exposed king. He's definitely got the edge. He's got control of the open file, and yeah, I'm not worried about that move. Like, okay, we can trade rooks. I'll let you trade though. I'm gonna push CF. We push G and he can just push H, and then I can't push F anymore. I think F is where I push. And all right, we traded rooks. My king has these two squares, the pawn has this one, the rook has this one, and pawn has this one. So this rook, I mean, even though this is an open file, the rook has very limited scope. This is likely going to be a draw. I don't see a lot of advantage either way here. Unless I give up this pawn in the middle. I mean, that could be a target. Now that I've pushed this pawn, it will be a target. Doesn't really matter which way I take, I guess. Now I'm going to create the space for my king to run. I'm pressure in an endgame. It's not my strong suit. Do I take? Or do I push? Or do I ignore? I don't think I ignore. Push, rook here, takes, king here, not here. King here, king here. And the king doesn't have either of these squares, so I push. Yeah. Locked pawn structure on the king side, and the king doesn't have access to either one of these. So if we trade rooks, he's got to come all the way over here. And that's just not a very good option for him. So I think I do trade over here now, and I just ask him what the heck's going on. No Rubens, no squares for my rook on the fourth rank. I don't want to come off the fourth rank. What if we create a little bit of space over here? He could push, but he doesn't. Okay, that gives me two pawns. He can get behind this one, but I get this one, and then he gets that one. Yuck. I have a passer, though, and a lot of checks. He gets behind, I take, he takes. No, he comes to the fourth. I check. He goes back. I come back. Maybe a perpetual, I don't know. He takes. He's got 9 minutes to figure it out, and I've got 55 seconds. So I might have boo-booed here. Maybe I should have left the rook on the e-file and come up with my king. I don't know. Do I let him have the e-pawn and not the b-pawn or the g-pawn? What's up with that? Why only there? I not taking, and I can push my pawn and shield my king to get up and maybe get this pawn for free and have a passer anyway. But he does get his king over. Okay, so maybe not a free pawn, but maybe here and here. Don't worry about this if my king gets too far away. You know, my king's got to stay in this box. Yeah, my king's got to stay in that box. But I get a check, and then I get two pawns. Now I got two passers. Okay. I think this might be winning now. I think I might be winning here with white. Unless a king here on push takes, takes. And I got to calculate this. So pawn push takes, 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 pawn push. I win. Yeah. Now both pawns are protected. He doesn't get to get his king in, but I don't have a move. Oh, I do have a move. Do I have a move? Yes, I have rook here. He can take the central pawn, but I get to push. And then I get to come over here. Maybe and this may just be threefold repetition now because I don't know if I can make progress. I mean, I'm up a pawn, but I don't know if I can actually do anything with it. Unless he moves his rook off and lets my king advance. This is going to be another draw. I'm going to make a few moves just for time's sake to build a little bit of time cushion. But this is just a draw, I think. Didn't want him to be able to push his pawn. Yeah, we're just going to repeat moves here. I don't see anything better. Maybe here and here. Well, now that hangs this pawn. Hangs that pawn. What if I just come back here now? Oh, I might have been. I might. No, no, he could have come back here. Okay. I don't think there's anything to be had here. There's just not. We got to be hitting threefold repetition pretty soon, I think. I don't see any tricks. His rook is perfectly just cutting my king off. I try to push. He takes with check. I come up. He advances with check, or I take. And it's just no bueno. I just don't see anything. Well, good game, friend. I think this is just as good as it gets. Suppose I should feel fortunate, but Because the opening, I just like I don't know. I feel like I gave him the edge in the opening, and don't know how or why. Probably by going into variations I'm unfamiliar with. Here's my game review. The Rubinstein variation. We both played it kind of accurately. I did have edges. I had chances here that I missed. 81.3. Lots of great moves. I think lots of misses, though. I had 6 misses. I'm going to kick myself when I see these, but that's why we review. Um, so we're in book. The knight development. It didn't like the knight development. I should have taken his knight. That's interesting. I'm sure that's theory, but I don't know what the theory is on the Rubinstein. Takes, queen takes, then knight. I don't know what the move order difference is there. I'll have to look into the Rubinstein French. It wanted me to do this. I thought this was losing a piece. This was a miss. What did I not calculate? Bishop here, threatening the queen. Bishop takes knight, threatening my queen. He's up a piece. Queen takes bishop. Okay. I win my piece back. Queen takes bishop. He's up a piece. Queen takes pawn. And the rook is hung. I missed that. Oh, that's painful to see now. Um, that is painful to see now. I didn't have to take back with the pawn. I could have taken with the queen and threatened the rook, and that would have been just winning. All right. All right. Wanted me to bring the knight to the center still. Oh, and just hang the pawn. So hanging the pawn was the correct idea. I don't know why I became so materialistic in this opening. Um, Wanted me to push c4. White maintains an edge. I didn't like that move. Rerouting the knight was a better option. Still White's king. The other rook. Bring the other rook to the third rank. Not hanging the pawn. Give black a slight edge here. I should have created space for my king. That was my best move. And here, coming up here, this was a mistake. He should have. This was my miss. I should have taken the pawn. I should have not gotten scared about this, and I should have taken the pawn. End games. Pawn and rook end games. Area of growth for me. And coming up here, I have an edge. I'm winning here. I'm just winning. That was lost. Okay. I should not have advanced the pawn. I should have brought the rook back. So my rook became tied to these pawns, and that was not great, but He gives me the edge back, and I'm still winning here. I'm just winning. How do I give it up? I'm still winning. And this was my chance. Wrong rook move. What should I have done? Should have brought my king around. I should have brought my king around to come up and defend the pawn. I mean, he can check and check with the rook and check with the rook, but eventually I'm going to shoulder him away. Maybe get my king back up in here and be able to shield my rook. Shield my king with my rook. I don't know. I mean, that allows um, him a lot of opportunities over here. Really going to have to calculate this out and like examine why bringing the king around is the better idea. I suppose I have checks on his king all day long as he's advancing. But if I let him get up here and win my pawn, I have checks over here, I guess. Comes back, I come up. That's a I'm gonna have to figure this out. I need to improve my king and rook in games. That's king, rook, pawn in games. That is what I learned from this game. Hope you enjoyed that, friends. Draws are not always the most exciting, but like, share, subscribe, and come back and watch some more chess.